Welcome to RSAC Conference 2025. We're recording here live from the Cyber Risk TV studio in Broadcast Alley at Moscone West. I'm your host, Matt Alderman, and joining me for this interview segment is Shahar Man. He's a CEO and co-founder at /Security. Welcome, Shahar.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
So we're going to talk about a very interesting topic around vibe coding. So before we go anywhere, what is vibe coding? For those who don't know, I actually know, but what is vibe coding?
Okay, so vibe coding, first of all, if you don't know what it is, that's okay. It's a very trendy new term. And vibe coding is about a new way to develop a code using AI and not just in a structured way, write the functions and do it yourself. Think about it as how we change from ChatGPT, from search at Google to ChatGPT for doing stuff.
Right.
So vibe coding is the equivalent for writing code. You can just ask for what you need and the code will be generated for you. Regardless of the tools that are popping up right now, there's several of them, but that's in general the trend. And it's absolutely amazing because it generates code in a way that expedite productivity that organization cannot really ignore how fast and it enlightens them into a very different world of software development.
Yeah, so my board keeps asking me, can we use AI code to accelerate development? The answer is yes, I think. But the question is it producing secure code that I'd be comfortable deploying in my enterprise products?
Right, so that's the main question, especially as we're coming from the security domain. So how do we make this possible without compromising the code of the enterprise? And we just did a research. We checked it with the ChatGPT last model 4.1 and Claude 3.7, and we figure out that if you're not asking for security things, you're not going to get a secure code. Actually, 9 out of 10 times you'll get, for the common vulnerabilities, you'll get them inside your code if you're not cleaning it up and making sure it's okay.
Yeah, what I saw in the report was pretty interesting. Like it's really bad, but even if you tell it to produce secure code, it's still not producing fully secure code.
Right. So it's not, first of all, in order to make it secure, you need to ask for it. You need to have the awareness. And as it happens, when you're so excited with writing code, and we've tried educating and creating awareness on the development side for decades, they're excited about moving fast and creating the functionality. And if they're not asking for that, it's not going to happen with these models. As mentioned, 9 out of 10 times. Actually, the only one that will be got you covered, even if you're not asking for, is SQL injection. That, as it happens, it probably became the poster child of vulnerabilities.
Right.
And the training that was so used to it, so also the outcome of these models will get you covered. But
So SQL injection is the one area that gets covered out of the OWASP top 10.
exactly. Even without asking, you're pretty much in a good shape. Of course, in different situations, it might not be the case, but in our research, we showed that SQL injection, surprisingly or not, is probably the one that is the best. Yeah.
Well, that means we've improved as an industry at least over the last 10, 15 years or so,
Right.
because that was always in the OWASP top 10.
Right, absolutely. So what do you do about it? You can ask your developers, hey, whenever you're asking for code or functionality to be built by you, just make sure you're asking nicely to secure it as well. And it will get better results. So out of the 10, maybe 6 of them will be covered. But how about we look at this problem as an opportunity to have finally the enterprise policies for security injected into these IDEs and making sure there's a bodyguard that works with the developer.
Yeah.
And in a very seamless way, without stopping them and asking them to scan the code and see the results, without knowing anything about security, the results are being refined for them. And in the same lightweight manner of vibe coding, the security will be injected into the code.
So even when you ask for it to be secure, there's still gaps.
Right.
Kind of what are the big gaps? Like what CWEs are not really being addressed, even if you ask for secure code? Because I think it's interesting is I go from 1 out of 10 to maybe 6 out of 10. That's still 4 areas of security weaknesses that you have to address. Is there a commonality across the different LLMs that you looked at?
Yeah, so we looked at, as mentioned, 4.1 ChatGPT. Claude, the latest Claude 3.7 was doing much better, but still, it only takes one vulnerability, and not CW, a specific
Yeah.
vulnerability that will put you on risk. So it's not about being 90% versus 70%. You want to be
Right.
100% that the
Agreed.
pattern is being matched. And you need a deterministic way for doing that, although the LLMs are not deterministic. So the way to do that is to have security deterministic knowledge injected to the prompts and having the right methods in line being enforcing them, like MCP servers and inline plugins that helps you.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a great opportunity because as an industry, we've been looking for a way to go all the way left
Yeah.
to the moment where the code is being generated.
Right.
And not only a gated approach that let the developers do whatever they want, but the PR will be stopped and let them, send them back to the drawing board and rewrite the code. Here
Right.
it happens simultaneously with the code writing. This is a real opportunity to improve.
To fully shift left,
Right.
where the guide rails, and we'll talk about policy in a second, actually helps build the secure code and continues to go through the CI/CD pipeline with all of its other checks, right? But this is the almost furthest left we can get.
Absolutely. The next left would be the minds of the
Yeah.
developers. We'll have a chip implanted into the developer's mind, maybe.
Maybe. So as organizations think about vibe coding, right? I think the first question is, do you allow it or don't you allow it, right? Because what I saw early on with AI, just in general, was this huge like ramp up of euphoria, like, oh, we're gonna do it. And then people realize, wait a minute, we're not securing it. And they put a bunch of policies in place that basically said, no, you can't do this, right? We gotta understand this first before we're going to allow it. So policy must be the first step in the process, allow or not allow. But then what's the next step in order to enable a secure vibe coding process?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it really depends of the size of the company, according to what we see with our customer base. So the ones that are on the bigger range, like a Fortune 100 company, are still in a pushback mode.
Okay.
We're gonna say, this is not happening. We look at vibe coding with horror. This is not computer science, this is not engineering. The quality of the code is not anywhere I need in an enterprise, so we're not going to allow it. If you use it, you get fired. This is how strict it is. But like with any technology trend, this is the first reaction before you can.
We've done this in security for a long time. We said no first.
Right, we say no first. And then some of them say, you know what, we cannot, especially on the mid-market,
Yeah.
they want to take the innovative advantage of the vibe coding because
Right.
you will produce innovation in ways and speed that never happened before, and they don't want to hold on this competitive advantage. So they embrace it in a very structured way, and then they run looking for a security guardrails
Right,
to
right.
make it happen.
Yeah.
The third one will be the ones that maybe over adopting, the ones that are actually so excited with it, just loosen up, the walls, let the developers do whatever they want, but they say we anyhow invested in the gates of the old world. They're gonna stop the new world problems. But I think this approach will not be sustainable because the amount of code will be very different.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? When you think about this, we have existing checks in the CI/CD pipeline today.
Right.
We do our software composition analysis, we do our static reviews, we try to do DAST and testing and runtime, and then I've seen this huge uptick in runtime security here at this conference. So we have existing tools. Why won't they work? Is it a scale issue? Really, at the end of the day, is that you're producing so much new code that it will be too hard to use the traditional tools in the existing pipeline to do that? Or is there another gap still there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that, first of all, let's be honest with ourselves. We don't see too many companies successful, even today, with shifting left security and having the gates there. It's a really nice slide
Yeah.
that you can present, but when push comes to shove and you need to deliver something, developers will not stop their pace and speed of development just because someone stopped them in the CI. We see that
Right.
all over the place. So security is a matter of risk taking. It cannot be 100% secured.
Right.
Given the new scale of AI, this will not hold. It cannot be the way to protect against vibe coding. You've seen the statements from the major, the Google CEO about how 25% of the code is already written by AI. Up to 90% will be in the next 3 to 6 months. I think it was Claude's CEO mentioning that the revolution is happening in pace that we've never seen before. We have customers that public customers last quarter told us it's not happening. We're not going to use Cursor AI tomorrow morning. That's okay. It's not part of our problems. We're going to look at it. This quarter, they tell us we need something urgent. That's the number one priority we need to look at when it comes to security. How do we figure out a sustainable way to enjoy it, but protect it in parallel?
Yeah, that's interesting. One last question. What does this do to the next generation of developers, right? If I think about what's going to happen is students will start to learn this method of coding, I think, that will then accelerate this adoption even more. Does that change the way we have to think about coding, education, coding classes, et cetera? Because this could really accelerate some interesting things, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. I think that's the riddle on how that unfolds. I'll tell you a story with my two teenager boys. They did computer science class at high school. Took them a full year to create a week by week a movie gallery application. They were so excited to add the tiles and to have an edit a movie and have a login page after several weeks. And then by the end of the year, it was a really nicely shaped movie gallery web application. So I called them the other day and I used one of the new age IDEs. I went to the extreme and I took Lovable. And I asked the prompt of Lovable, hey, can you create for me a movie gallery app, make the tile nice, get it a login page, everything they need. I clicked one button, waited 1 minute, a couple of minutes, and boom, they got the full app, even nicer than what they've built. It was a jaw-dropping moment for them, and it was a jaw-dropping moment for me looking at them, and there you can see the wheels in their mind, and I got it, that the new type of developers in the next decade will need to know much less about engineering in order to create way more innovative applications. So it's here.
1 year to 1 minute.
That's the innovation. That's the scale of the revolution.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's our job to not stop it. It's actually, when you look at it in a broader scale,
Yeah.
security industry have missed so many trends because of our approach to first stop it. We did it with cloud. That was in my previous company. We did it with containers. We did it with VMware.
We did it with devices, bring your own devices. We did it with all kinds of things.
Right, and then it's kind of, security is going to be an afterthought.
Right.
Let's see how that evolves, and then we're going to react, and then you miss a few good years of actually being able to inject security from day one into what's happening, instead of, just be scared out of it.
Remember the concept, secure by design.
Yeah.
This allows you to build secure code up front, kind of by design. Remember, you're just putting in a prompt and it's building you the code. You can't get any more ground zero from a secure by design principle.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, this is awesome. Shahar, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
If you want to learn more, please visit securityweekly.com/RSAC. Shahar, a great segment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned. We've got more interviews coming at RSAC Conference 2025.